You talked about the Ahmadiyya perhaps being moved to a certain island apparently for their own protection. Do you think this is a good move for them?
Of course not. You cannot move people by force. You cannot move people out of their family members, friends, job, market, school for the children, etc., etc. So it is inhuman.
Muhyiddin, what do you think?
I don't agree at all, because as far as Islamic teaching is concerned, we are not allowed to force somebody to follow our faith. What we are objecting right from the beginning is the practice of our brothers from Ahmadiyya who still claim themselves as Muslims. See, for example, if you are Hindu or if you are Christian and somebody else claims themselves Christian, but they violated the teaching of Christianity and Hinduism. Do you want to keep quiet? Do you agree or not? That's the reason. Therefore, the best solution.
Are you saying then that if the Ahmadiyya sect came out and said, all right, we will now admit that we are not part of the Islamic religion, we are in fact a whole different religion, that these attacks against them will stop?
Definitely. We have given two options. One is Ahmadiyya, they form their own religion, the name Ahmadiyya religion. Or they return to the teaching of Islam, the genuine teaching of Islam. If they accept this, we can guarantee there no more attack, no more work against
Who
Ahmadiyya.
is to say, who then dictates what is the genuine teaching of Islam? How can the state dictate that this is the branch of Islam that
the government
the country
of
has to
Indonesia
follow?
Does not have any right to force. But
no,
every
but the Council
religion,
of Ulama do, don't they?
It's not the Council of Ulama. Every religion has their own reference. So Islam, of course, based on Al-Quran and the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. As long as those people do not follow these reference, of course, we consider that they are not part of Muslim.
Just finally, gentlemen, do you think it is actually possible to maintain religious harmony here in multicultural Indonesia? Muhyiddin?
Yeah, definitely. It is no doubt that we Indonesian people enjoy religious freedom right from the time of our independent days. Only recently there are minor cases, I could say.
Andres, how do you think religious harmony can be maintained here in multicultural Indonesia?
There should be a radical change of the mindset of many religious leaders in Indonesia. If not, violence after violence will keep on continuing breaking out in Indonesia. I'm not only talking about burning churches, I'm talking about killing people, killing hundreds, thousands of people in the name of their respective religion.
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Come.
That's all the time we have for this edition of 101 East. You can always follow the program through our website, podcast and Facebook. From all the team here in Jakarta, Indonesia, thanks for watching. Mental disorders affect millions of Chinese citizens. But with a chronic lack of support, is this a social time bomb threatening to leave victims and broken families in its wake? 101 East, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera focused as the troops pulled out. We focused when barriers were built and walls came down.
Women have been voted into parliament.
On the raising of one voice and the silencing of another.
Somebody knew he was coming.
We focused when bombs fell.
Potter, go.
And when Gaza stood alone. Throughout the Middle East, we focus on news and documentaries that matter to you. Al Jazeera, television that truly inspires.
What Gaddafi has done, he dismantled or destroyed the system in the country.
As chaos and violence sweep across Libya.
They're living through fear, they're living through a nightmare.
They're using ammunition, live ammunition.
Al Jazeera hears from those who have lived in fear of Gaddafi's regime.
We don't want him to leave. We want to arrest him. 42 years is too much.
Libya, a state of terror. At this time on Al Jazeera.
It was a revolution which ended half a century of autocratic rule. and inspired a wave of public protest that swept across the Arab world.
Internet, Facebook, Twitter, they were not the revolution.
In an exclusive two-part documentary, Raghi Omar traces the roots and repercussions of this uprising and examines why 23 years of dictatorship fell in only 28 days. The Death of Fear, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Rearming for the battles to come. Libya's rebel forces lose ground as Gaddafi's military steps up attacks. Seven GMT, I'm Darine Abu Gheda. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Also coming up on the program, will Western air power protect Libya's rebels? The U.S. president says Washington and its allies are still considering a military response to the crisis. A car bomb kills at least 7 people in eastern Pakistan. We'll have a live report with all the latest. And new military trials at Guantanamo Bay, the controversial prison that Barack Obama promised to close, is back to business as usual. So Colonel Gaddafi's forces appear to have pushed back Libya's rebels from strategically important towns. The Libyan leader's battalions have repelled groups trying to oust him from his coastal strongholds, hitting them hard. State TV has shown pictures of what they say is the recaptured western town of Zawiya. That's just outside the capital, Tripoli. And rebel positions have been pounded in the town of Bin Jawad and on Tuesday in the nearby oil port Ras Lanouf. Meanwhile, Libyan state television has denied reports that Gaddafi sought an agreement with the rebels that would allow him to step down with certain guarantees. A Gaddafi representative reportedly made the proposal to the opposition's so-called National Council based in Benghazi. The council apparently rejected that offer. Charles Stratford has the latest.
Evidence of how Muammar Gaddafi deals with traitors. It's claimed these are Libyan soldiers who were murdered for refusing to shoot rebels in the mountainous region west of Tripoli. The pictures were sent to Al Jazeera by a rebel group in the area. A survivor of the killing says the men were rounded up, their legs tied before being shot in the head or back from close range. The pictures emerged as rebel fighters perhaps face their greatest challenge yet, as they take stock of what seems a slowing of momentum in their campaign. Libyan state TV says these pictures show a rebel base recaptured by the army in the western city of Zawiya. There are reports that tank shelling of the city on Monday has been the fiercest so far. That's despite earlier claims the military had taken full control.
Today at 10:30, the pro-Gaddafi forces attacked the town center. They used around 20 tanks and several cannons. They fired randomly and in all directions, and today's attacks were the most intense so far.
Rebels are regrouping in towns in the east of the country. The military and pro-Gaddafi forces have, at least for the time being, halted their advance to the Libyan leader's hometown and stronghold of Sirte. A report on Libyan state TV